Good. Alright, hello everyone, and this is the Dracula in a Box, Chinappi, Celona, and Nortrup edition of our book discussion. Hopefully we'll have some good points for you today and get a little more deeper understanding into what happens in the novel Dracula.
Okay, so Dave, one thing that Stoker uses in Dracula is he narrates the story with journals and newspaper clippings. What kind of effect does that have on the story?
So, when he uses letters and newspaper clippings, you get a lot of personal emotions which aren't usually present in a novel of this sort. So, example, if you just saw the different actions of the characters, they might have different motives you're not sure of, or if they're coming in and they might have put this way, they might be acting a different way than what they're actually feeling. But when you have a journal entry, that's personal, so you tend to get more true emotions and more accurate descriptions of what happens, especially where he has a whole lot of different perspectives on the different events. So with that, I feel like we can trust the narrators a bit more and say, okay, this is what actually happened. Through newspaper clippings, that also shows that it's not how they remember it, it's also how like true events which are being reported on, and therefore it's that extra emphasis on truth.
Okay, so reliability, key.
Reliability is key.
Alright, so Brett, in the story, characters reference Christian mythology a lot. Why do you think they do that?
Well, I believe Dracula is a good example of some, it's a Christian story. It's got a lot of parallels to Christian theology. First you have Dracula, who represents the evil in the world, and Van Helsing is maybe like this angel who comes and tries to conquer evil, and while doing so, we get all these different Christian examples like the crucifix and the communion wafers, which fend off the evil in a lot of ways. And then there's also the example with the Cain and Abel, and how after Cain killed his brother, Abel had a mark on him put on by God. It's the same thing, just opposite. This time the Count puts the mark on Mina, and it symbolizes something that is unholy.
Okay. Okay, so Dracula, his main targets were Mina and Lucy, really. So back to Dave again. Why do you think vampire, he seeked beauty and youth mostly? And do you think these obsessions in the story is based around just the time the novel was written? Or do you think we still, as a society, obsess over beauty and youth today?
I mean, I think an obsession over youth and beauty is more of a universal kind of influence rather than around the time period. I mean, obviously, during the time period, this is the same time period where women powdered themselves. I mean, you get that really white complexion, and that means it's like almost going back to like the innocent and the fairness and the youth, which is the most desirable, even though they're being chased by really old men. But at that point, it's just like the huge emphasis on that. I mean, even today, you still look at that average model weight is about 110, even though they're about 4'6", I think. So, I mean, you still have the same emphases placed on this youth and beauty. Actually, if you look at modern vampire example of this too, I mean, you see the Twilight novels. I mean, the entire movie's franchise is based on 3 guys with these amazing bodies, and just it's like that's what tries to sell it, and it's just everyone's talking about, oh, the young love story, and oh my god, that guy is so hot, blah blah blah. And I mean, you keep looking at that, and it might be different than how they showed it back in Bram Stoker's time, but if you look at it, the same different themes and obsessions still apply.
Very good answer. I like your enthusiasm.
To the
Twilight. Okay, so back to the Lucy and Mina thing. Brett, why do you think Lucy is Dracula's first target?
Well, there's a couple reasons why, but first off, Lucy is young, and I guess a young, healthy woman, attracts the Count.
Calm yourself, Brett.
Drawing in. If you're a vampire, would you rather suck the blood of an old guy or a young female? So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then again, Mina is young too, but she's different from Lucy in a way that Mina is more dedicated to Jonathan versus you know, Lucy might be a little bit easier to attract to the dark side. You know, she's been described as, you know, a desired woman. 3 men have already chased her down to be asked for her hand in marriage, and I think that plays a lot into why she might be easier to manipulate than Mina, and that's why I believe she was definitely the first target.
Yeah.
At that point. So, Andrew, well, I got a question for you. Now, remember the boat in Chapter 7, the Russian ship?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think, or the dog jumped from the ship that crashed in Chapter 7, why couldn't anyone find this dog? What do you think?
Well, I think if you remember, it was when Old Man Swalls and Mina, they were talking together and they saw the ship come, and after it crashes into the beach, we see a dog jump off the ship and just go into the forest. No one knows where it goes. And I think after doing some deep analyzing on Chapter 7, I think I found out that the dog was actually Dracula, believe it or not. I think one of the main things that Dracula can do is he can change shapes. So I think he definitely changed into a dog. And if we remember in the log that Mina had to translate from Russian, I believe it was, the captain said that there was something on the ship, and it was just causing so much havoc and terror that one of them actually, the head mate actually killed himself, and then the captain ended up killing himself too. And
Not
that's
to
why
mention he was tied to the
the
wheel and the crucifix.
Yeah, he killed himself. Yeah,
definitely.
that's why. And then that's why no one could find him either, because he turned back into Dracula.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
So
I didn't even think of that.
it's an old book, but you know, I'd have to say overall, for a book as old as it was a definite quality read and
Definite relations to today.
yeah,
Yeah.
better than expected for a book as old as it was.
Yeah, definitely has a lot of impact too, because we always have a lot of references to Dracula still.
Yeah.
Today.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Yeah.
Nosferatu.
Indeed.
Well, that's Dracula in a Box.
Signing off.